Hey everyone, it's Shay Seeking and I'm here with a video. This one is just going to be a quick read with share, um, a link share to a book. It's a pretty old book. I think it's from like maybe the 1800s, and we always have to be careful. I think anywhere after the 1700s, it's usually hard to find books that are actually around that time. But once we get into the 1800s, the mid to late, I don't know. That some of the information may not be, all the way accurate. And then I was looking at the link or whatever, just when I was putting, just thought I'd share on my Facebook. But now, all of a sudden, I don't know. I just be looking at everything and it just bothers me sometimes. But it says equals false. I don't know. I mean, for that to be in a link, I don't know. I'm just being way too observant. Maybe I'm just gonna start paying attention to what links say because it says equal uh, false, but I don't know. We know falsities are all over all this material that we use, and all this material is to help scope your mind into putting together the truth, because um, who knows exactly what the truth is? The truth is just something that needs to resonate with you. Um, at the end of the day, you're going to have to take your own truth wherever you go after you leave this lifetime. So, on that note, we just need to make sure when we're um, talking about where we're getting information from, all of this information, including your Bible. I know we like to separate the Bible and say, oh, that's the white man's book or it's somebody else's book or whatever. But, you guys already know I already believe that the Old Testament is of the old world and the New Testament is of the new world, pertaining to most likely the Americas. So, anyhow, let's see. Um, I hope I haven't already shared this and put this in a video somewhere so that I'm wasting your time, but I'm going to go ahead and just read a little bit. Um, I guess that's it. Lately, succeeding the flood, a second generation may have lost it, not dwelling in the vicinity of the great waters. Okay, here we go, because I'm about to do something on waters. So, you know what? Why not just go ahead and take a quick, and this is my problem now with my desktop having all these screenshots. But let's just keep that close, because I'm actually doing something on waters, and so funny that that's there. So, anyways, may have lost it, not dwelling in the vicinity of the great waters. Um, excuse me. Having no use for such an art would have would have necessity wait no use for such an art would of necessity lose it, which remained lost till about 1300 AD. Okay. And I know that AD is there. I don't know necessarily 100% what it's supposed to mean, but I don't know. I just automatically look at it as 1300. It's just the way I look at things. Um, so let's see. In the year 1197 before Christ. Okay. So in the year 1197, um, it's just funny that we're putting like an actual date, like in real life terms, year on Christ. I don't think I've ever seen that done. Um, people say like around this time or before that time, but they never really. Uh, all this time I've been alive, I've never heard of any like date. There's still not one, but there's a year here that they put in their book. So before Christ, about the time of Job or Job, a large colony from China under the Yu dynasty was sent to Japan and other Western islands. Okay, so it would be west to them. Okay, so it would be west to them, to whoever this is. And again, the link is here. And this is page 36, just in case you want to start right here and branch off. Um, But anyways, okay. Sent to Japan and other Western islands who drove out. Okay. So, okay, here we go. Who drove out the Oni or black inhabitants. So, this is just saying that under the Yu Dynasty, a large colony from China, so a lot of Chinese people um, under that dynasty were sent to Japan and other Western islands who drove out um, the Oni or black inhabitants. You know, that's making me think about Papua New Guinea and whatever other continent, whatever. Oh, man, I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's a lighter view people on the other half of the island, which kind of reminds me of the Dominican right now, how they're harming the darker people from Haiti and they want them out. So I don't know. It's just whatever. That I know that's on the other side, but I'm just saying. So okay, or black inhabitants, the first settlers of those islands. Okay, so they drove out the first settlers of those islands, which happen to be black. A branch, it appears, of the family of Ham. Okay, so this is a family of Ham. Okay, who had found their way across the whole continent of Asia. Okay, from Ararat. Now, I don't know exactly where Ararat is. I would love to pull it up right now, but I just want to make this one easy peasy, get right through breezy. So, from Ararat, I know I've heard of the place before. I don't know if it's biblical or just in history, or else had by sea. And now that makes me think about the Oriental sea-bearing races, the darker view Oriental. Uh, it's still kind of early, y'all, but um, yeah. So let's just finish. I'm going to stop. I'm going to try to turn my brain off and just read it. Or else had by sea coasted along from the countries of the equator. Okay. Their natural home to those beautiful islands. From this trait of early settlement, we see the African as he is now designed. Okay. From this trait of early settlement, we see the African as he is now designed. Wait, I'm lying. Designated. Okay. Designated as enterprising in the colonizing of the new countries. We see the African as he is now designated as enterprising in the colonizing of new countries, as they were in the study of astronomy and of building and the inventions of letters. At the time the Egyptians first merged to notice on the page of history, and if the Japan Islands, okay, a part of the earth as far as Ararat, okay, the great starting point of man, okay, after the flood. Okay, so whatever this is, this place, um, it is the great starting point of man, okay, after the flood. Okay, so this is notice the page of history, and if the Japanese islands a part of the earth as far as Ararat, the great starting point of man after the flood, as is America, and much farther, was found settled by the black race of Ham. Okay, this may go against what we're saying, but I think I put this up on a conversation and like a fellow indigenous or American um, researcher of this history, and it got deleted. And somebody was asking me for a link for it, so I had to send it to them um, in a personal message. But I think some people don't like if it's something that's veering away. But I think these types of things, even if it veers away, sometimes it usually leads you back to the truth, or to the way that we're seeing it more than anything. You just have to be able to be non-biased and just read through the information just a little bit, and you'll start to see what might be not true, or whatever, or how it should work out. So that's why I never deny information. If it's something that goes against what, it might be something in there that might help somebody else put together some dots. So um let's see. Okay. And much further was founded, settled by the black race of Ham. uh, why not therefore parts of America? So, okay, so it's asking why not parts of America? Why couldn't parts of America be, um, found and settled by the race of Ham? But it already says as is. Far from Ararat, the great starting point of man after the flood, as is America, and much further, was found settled by the black race of Ham. Why not therefore parts of America? I don't know that. I don't know what they were really trying to say. The pure Negro has been founded on some of the islands between China and America. Um, be nice to pull up a map, but we're not going to do that right now. Which would seem to indicate that this race of people have preceded even the whites. Okay. And now let's see. We have to remember at some point in time in history, being white wasn't your skin tone, or being a what were they calling it? Not a European. Goodness, and I don't even know. Maybe Caucasian. I don't know, but I know that at some point in time, you were more. They were more looking at the features on the face, like the nose and the lips, um, and the hair, if it was curly or straight, when it came to so-called white people. Um, I don't know for sure if that's what we're talking about right here, but that's something to remember, is that before they started judging you by their skin tone, it was more the facial features. And we can really, if you really pay attention, um, you can see the Asian uh, flatter front face. Um, you can see the different makeups of even the American Negro, Indian, whatever you want to call it. And then you can see with but now I'm being introduced to the fact that the Aborigines of Australia don't all look with that phenotype that they have, and I think we all know what it looks like. They have a different type of phenotype, of different type of facial structure and everything. Uh, kind of like how I would even look at Chinese, so-called Chinese people. Um, they not to I'm not trying to be mean, but they kind of look the same, like the males and females, maybe even the same stature, height, the same skin tone, and sometimes the same features in the face. I mean, they just look the same. Everybody looks Chinese in China, pretty much from what I would think. So I try not to be stereotypical, and I try not to be come off to sound racist or anything. I'm just using, you know, uh, different terms in order to just kind of let you know what I'm trying to say. Um, and then let me see. So yeah, you can tell by their features and stuff like that is different. Just like even when you go to the Filipino and Cambodians, they have a different face structure. These people look at, and you'll notice that some people that you know or seen around in America share those same features. So again, I know that my what I stand for is the fact that they were lying about the slave trade and that people were already here. How we were peopled, I won't rule out the fact that there might have been people from. I think that there, like this just said that these people travel along the places along the equator, and if you go that route, now you can start putting together a little bit. How some people might have been already mixed with people. There might have been all different people here when they came here. I'm not necessarily, hey, I don't know. There could have even been so-called white people of today here when they got here. You know, I know that there's more so-called proof or evidence about the foreigners coming from different countries, like in the 1800s and stuff, but who knows what was really going on. So, I'm not ruling out really any of that stuff at this point. I just know that there's some entity that resides over there in the Washington, D.C. area that is a foreign nation within a nation that is ruling over the people of that nation. Okay. And I know that there were people, they try to act like these same people that oppress us and put us in their school systems to re educate us and dilute, whatever else you might be having going on in the brain to question things. Those particular people may know this, have something to do with this, and they lied to you about the slave trade and where you are from. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so the pure Negro has been found on some of the islands between China and America, um, which would seem to indicate that this race of people have preceded even the whites, or at least at least equaled them, in first peopling the globe after the deluge. So these are big terms that I like to use, when it comes to the flood and the deluge. And this is gonna probably make more sense in the next video I'm about to do about water. But okay. The Rafinesque, the great antiquarian says the exact time when the Chinese first discovered or reached America, which was something that I have been looking into a little bit because I think that there's that China or that uh, I don't know, have something more to do with what's going on here in America. And they may play this whole thing, oh, China's against America and America is against Iran. And these are just bickering fights that they're going through. These people unite all the time in order to talk about what you and I are going to do here in America and how they're going to run things here. So a lot of this stuff is just stage play to get the people worried, to get the people moved, to get you to want to go to war, to get you to want to do several other things. But if you always look, you really don't see. If you start looking at like Trump's father and different people like this, if you really start looking at the fathers of these people, the so-called white people that are in these images when they go to the United Nations and they gather and stuff, and you see so-called black people, but they're really Asian. I mean, if you really look close enough, I'm talking about when they get Merkel or whatever her name is from um, Germany together, and then you have all these guys that are Asian, and then you have all these so-called black-looking guys that are Asian too. Don't let it don't get it twisted. And then if you look at some of these so-called American leaders that or presidents and stuff that gather at these things at these events, start looking in their background and you'll start seeing that Asian, um, Native American, maybe even you know uh, phenotype peeking through there for generations or whatever. So what I'm saying is there's nobody there that look like you that's representing America or the people of America in that aspect. So how are we going to sit back, claim to be a part of some type of nation that don't even nobody there even resembles you or there's no one there? It reminds me of a couple scriptures in the Bible. Like, is there no one to represent? You can't find a leader of these people or whatever to come and present their case. What the heck is going on? And that kind of reminds me of that. So, anyways, Chinese first discovered or reached America is not given in their books. And I heard here through a documentary that I watched that they do have some hidden information actually. But for some reason they had to lock it up, or somebody was told not to speak on it, or it's just like a shh on the hush kind of thing. So, but it was known to them, he says, and to the Japanese at a very early period, and called by them Fu Sham. Okay, so there go your ham right there. And frequented for trade. But who were here for them to trade with? Okay. Our answer is the first inhabitants, the white, the red, and the black. The sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So usually when we break this Noah thing down, it's more towards the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. But it doesn't really include Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, because I thought these were the sons of him. So I don't know. Maybe I'm getting something confused. Who got onto the continent before it was severed from Asia and Africa. Now, this is talking about something was severed. Okay. So I'm just trying to figure out how people are severing land. Again, if you look at a lot of Africans that they don't show you in mainstream, you will start to notice that a lot of them look like Asians with dark skin. And if Chinese went over there and flooded that area and wiped them out or pushed them out, of course, they're going. I don't know about them being in Russia or anything. That might be a little bit too north to be going. But if you look at it, I think China is more northish, higher up. Then you have Russia. But if you wanted to stay toward the equator, you would have to go towards, the islands or Africa, so called. Philippines, South everything. And if you notice and you look at the people even now, they're starting to be lightened up now by however means. But you'll notice that you're going to find the darker, curlier hair in the South zones of those particular places. India, Asia, whatever, so forth. And then it's just so funny getting Africa. There's so-called white people down there. And then, you have in West and in the middle, I'll say, of Africa, then you have the darker view people. But then once you start going north, then you have who might have been were darker at one point, your Moroccans and your, whatever, Euro, whatever. So who got on the continent before and severed, before it was severed from Asia and Africa. Okay. Sorry. So I don't even know if we're maybe talking about Pangea in the days of Peleg, 100 or 200 years after the flood of Noah. Okay. So, and the flood of Noah would be very traumatic because now we're talking about Noah, the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, flooding into a place like America. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm going to leave the link in the video, and I guess I will speak to you guys soon.